welcome to Farangis of Iran, or Foreigners of Iran, a program about foreigners who lived in Iran from the 1940s through 1979, the year of the Islamic Revolution. My guest today is Bulgarian traveling tourism expert Antoinette Perjova Shishmanova, who grew up in Iran as a child in the 1970s. The beginning of the audio has a few seconds that are unintelligible, but quickly resolve.
Okay.
Fill me in on the last 40 years.
Gotta repeat it. It's like 4 years.
I know.
Yeah,
It goes by too fast.
it does.
Yeah. Tell me, what years were you in Iran?
Right. I arrived, I believe, December. And since I was about one of the few kids around that both my parents were Bulgarian. That wasn't married.
Can you try to speak into that microphone?
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, since both parents, I didn't have an English American father or mother or anything. I was really very unhappy at the beginning because everybody spoke English and Farsi, and I spoke none of those. But Mr. Irvine, if you remember, he was fantastic. He called my father, and he advised us that Mrs. Sammy, there was a Mrs. Sammy, if you remember her.
Yeah.
She unfortunately crashed with her husband much later on.
Oh, I remember Julie. Yeah.
Julie, yeah. So she became my mother, my best friend, and everything. And that's how I quickly started picking up English and a little bit of Farsi here and there, normal for kids.
Yeah.
And then I caught up with everybody, so it went.
Fantastic. She was such a wonderful lady.
Oh, yes, and a fantastic teacher.
Yeah, she developed sign language for Farsi deaf children.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Never knew that.
Yeah. And every year, I don't know if they're still doing it, but every year there are people that she taught who have grown up now, and they go to the cemetery and, take care of the grave.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see if I can send you a video of one of the years they did that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's great. Did you have to go to a combination class or transition?
Transition. Yeah, something. And working with her. And of course, mixing up with kids. And then, and Yas, if you remember Yasima Khalili,
Yeah.
you remember? Well, since it happened that going down from Iran Zmin all the way through Avenue France, I remember it was called, at one point in one of the corners in a small kuche. Down the kuche was me with my parents, and up the kuche on Avenue France was the building where her father and mother lived, and they practically, I think they owned the entire building. Her father was a doctor. So anyway, so that's how we became friends. We started going to school together, coming back home, school together, and that's how I started picking up Farsi. My
Wow.
favorite. Yes.
You didn't even have to do that.
I still speak Farsi, and it's so funny. I have to admit I'm doing it on purpose. I'm really doing it on purpose because I remember sometimes I always read when I'm on a bus. I don't drive. I know this sounds silly, but in Bulgaria you can feel perfectly happy not driving.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel very happy not driving, but I always read. And recently I remember two Iranians. I don't know. I heard Farsi, and one of them said, "Ay boy khoda in khanum Amerikaiye." Yes,
Oh, your
American.
Farsi is good.
And the other one said, "Na Bobo, ascoltiamo l'unica America è Bobo, quindi bevi in kitab che mi con bevi nega con inglese tige." And then the funny thing is that they decided that's it. I'm an American, not English.
Okay.
Sorry. Then I turned and I said, "Babakshit ma palima mi miki." You should have seen their faces.
Well,
were
at least
so-
they were polite.
Yeah, they were. So anyway,
Fantastic. I didn't know there's Iranians in Bulgaria.
oh yes, yes, yes. And like a couple of years ago, I became very good friends with a family, Khani. They opened the Caspian, just the Caspian was the name of the restaurant, and I helped them develop it because my husband happens to be a member of one of the most popular a cappella singing groups. Yeah,
Wow.
he's the bass, he's the lowest possible voice. Then there is another man, he's the tenor, and then three women, so five people. And being, you know, well known around here, it was easier for me to bring them a lot of clients. And you can imagine how much Bulgarians adore
Adore what?
Iranian cuisine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you did that. How sweet of you.
Yeah, we're still in touch. They had to close down the restaurant now during the pandemic. Of course, things are a little difficult. We're still wearing the mask
Yeah.
everywhere. So, anyway,
This
that's
pandemic is just unbelievable. You know?
unbelievable. Every day I hear how many thousands of people. Thousands.
Yes.
I don't
And
know
we
what.
think, oh, it's getting better, and then it comes back, and
So funny. I mean, even I know war could be worse, but at least you know what's going on right now. We have this hidden enemy. We can't even
yes.
imagine what it is, and it's so uneasy, to deal day by day, hoping it's going to go down. Now it's going up. 500
Yeah.
a day. 500 a day in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is a tiny country.
Yeah.
So anyway.
They say because the weather is getting colder and people are inside more.
Yeah. Well.
So, do you remember what years you were there?
Yeah, absolutely. I went there in 1969. Started, caught up with everybody else, and just everything went normal. And then I was a junior, and then sophomore, and then junior, senior, and I graduated in 75, I think. Right? Was it?
Fabulous.
Yeah. And the good thing, Jessica, was uh, in Bulgaria, there were certain people that could leave the country, live abroad, work abroad, and get good money.
Uh-huh.
Straightforward. Those were the people who were connected to the Communist Party, and not only to the Communist Party, mind you, but to the secret services, what was equivalent to Savak in Iran. So these were the people in embassies, the commercial establishments, because they were different from the embassies, of course. They were the coming and going sports people, whatever. And finally, my father, who was a bassoon player, I don't know if you know the bassoon.
Oh, yes.
Long, beautiful instrument. Actually, at our school, I forgot the name of the music teacher. She talked to my dad, and she was teaching somebody bassoon. I mean, it's very.
Yeah, I think it was Mrs. Ahmadi.
Ahmad,
Mary,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, yes, Mary, I remember her first
Yeah.
name. So anyway, the bottom line was when Mr. Sanjari came to Bulgaria, Romania, Poland, God knows where else he went, picked up the best musicians from those people from the Eastern Europe, he picked my father. It was like a regular uh, mm, hearing or whatever. And he picked my father. My father was already the solo bassoon player of the Bulgarian Opera House. But we couldn't really, the problem was that none of us were communists or members of the secret services.
Yes, that's very
Well,
difficult.
that's very difficult for them to let you leave the country, let alone stay that long. But the good thing was my father in exactly where is our office now. That's where I grew up. Uh, my father's best family friends and family. The man was a composer, member of the Communist Party, and very close to Todor Zhivkov, at that time the prime minister's daughter. She was
Uh-huh.
a totally different person. Yeah, we believe in 1980 she was killed by the Russians for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah, Lyudmila Zhivkova was her name. A wonderful lady, very close to Eastern philosophy, to meditation, to spiritual growth, and things like that. But anyway, thanks to him, to his name was Dimitr Perjov, a very famous composer. He guaranteed that we can go to Iran. Hadn't it been for him, we would have never. We would have probably seen Iran through, we say, spaghetti.
a straw.
Straw, yeah, exactly. Never, because we were nobody. So what? My dad was a solo player, nothing. But anyway, that's what really helped a lot. That's why I could stay so long in Tehran. And then after we graduated, I stayed on, went to Tehran University, studied some
My
more.
goodness. My
Yeah,
goodness.
and I fell in the middle of the revolution. I just like that. And then
Wow.
I came back in 1980. So that's quite a number of years I stayed in Iran, made friends, so many people, and a lot of them are still my friends, and we're still in touch.
Did your dad play in an orchestra in Iran?
Roudaki Hall, do you remember Roudaki Hall?
Yeah, yeah.
The orchestra. Also, you had a conservatory, if you remember. He he was preparing young Iranians to play bassoon. At least I know of two people, I've forgotten their names. But even while my dad was still in Tehran, one of them went to Vienna and is still playing in the, or probably he's retired by now, I don't know. But he was so good that he was accepted in the Vienna Orchestra. He was my dad's student. So my dad was making pretty good money, of course, with the Roudaki Hall, some recordings, and also, of course, teaching at the conservatory.
What was your dad's name?
Dimitr, remember my name was Perjova?
Yes.
Okay, Perjova actually in Bulgarian. That's ridiculous the way I had to say Perjova. But his name was Dimitr Perjov. And I believe somewhere in the records of Roudaki Hall, his name must be present.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and the conservatory also. Yeah.
Well, let me know if you can dig up a photo of him and maybe a photo of you afterwards that I can put in the video.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have actually much better photos. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'll come up with something.
You know, it's
Sure.
interesting when you talked about having difficulty if you're not an official member of the party.
Oh yes,
Some
absolutely.
some of the Polish people I've talked to had similar difficulties. You know, and it's hard to be say I'm not belonging to anything because they don't let you do anything.
They don't let you unless you have a back, unless you have somebody to protect you, to stand up for you. But mind you,
Yes.
that doesn't have to be also. I mean, as much as I love the uncle, I used to call him Uncle Dimitr. I'm pretty sure he was also with all of
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
That's the system work. Yeah.
Yes. I remember there were some people from the non-aligned countries. I don't know if Bulgaria was non-aligned. I guess it wasn't.
No, Bulgaria was part of the Soviet
Yeah. So they had to
satellite.
leave after the revolution.
So
They had to
yeah,
leave.
I had to leave after the revolution in 1980. And that's it. I've never gone back there. And I'm
Yeah.
sure if I were to go tomorrow, I wouldn't even find my old house. I'm pretty sure. You know, I always catch up videos. Sometimes I feel
Could I have you put the microphone back to
oh yeah,
yeah.
sure. This is okay.
Yeah.
You
So
hear me
if
now?
you
Okay.
yeah, if you went back to Iran, what
If
did you say?
I said that I'm not sure I'm gonna find my home.
It's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Hello.
Yeah. It's very overpopulated now.
Yeah. Well, it's normal, I guess. People come from all over the country looking for jobs and better lives. So,
Yeah. What do you remember what neighborhood you lived in?
as I said, when we first came, it was Avenue France,
Yeah.
somewhere sort of midway that avenue, in a Kuche, and yes, she was, yeah, just very close to
She
our
was in the
place.
same building. Yeah.
It's funny when
Did,
for so many years you never think of it. I probably can find,
it's
honestly,
okay.
yeah.
Did you get a chance to travel around Iran?
Sure, sure. Uh, I had a lot of Iranian friends, and often we would go, of course. I was so happy that I managed to go to Shiraz, Isfahan, the Caspian, Akkad, Abadan.
Wow, you went
Yeah,
everywhere.
not everywhere. It's a big country, but it's a beautiful country. I mean, beautiful, beautiful buildings and the people, and it's a totally different experience, totally. And I'm so happy that I went through. I mean, it wasn't always easy for me. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Do you remember, by the way, Jeannie Jarakian?
Yeah. She was a
Okay,
dancer. Yeah.
a drama and speech.
Yes.
Jeannie became my friend, and I've been desperately trying to find her somehow. Facebook, this and that, and no chance. I believe by now. I don't even know if she's around, but Jeannie helped me a lot during the revolution. Eventually, she had to leave. I was teaching English. I was looking after kids. I was trying everything possible to survive as a student, pay my bills, and graduate eventually. So
Yes.
she taught me everything there was to be taught about travel, being a travel agent. And there was a company called Intra. Don't know if you remember Intra. So Ginny would have me, she would prepare me to take over her. And I had a fantastic salary, fantastic job, of course, studying at the same time, worrying about all the things happening on the street at the university, but I had a pretty active and fantastic life, I should say. So Ginny taught me everything. And she left, and actually she never came back. So for about 2 years, I worked on her place with Intra. That was, wow, what an experience.
What
We
did they
had
do at Intra?
with
Travel?
Intra travel everywhere. Rome, Venice, Paris, London, and they would come, and that there would be groups going every week, and we would be the ones from this end to send the people over there, and Intra would write the tickets by
Yeah.
hand at that time. So you,
Yes.
yeah, and you had to take care of who is kosher, who is a vegetarian, if there were such people. Who is gonna meet them in Rome, in Venice, Paris, London, what hotel, what program. I learned all that, and it was a lot of fun and a pleasure.
You're
Funnily enough,
perfect for that kind of job.
I guess life, or maybe I don't know, could be genes. I'm a good organizer, I guess.
And a people person.
Yeah, I love being with people and working with people, organizing. So
That's
that's what
so
I.
nice that she did that for you, put you in that spot.
How did she? They say nothing on this planet is a mere chance, just by chance. Things
Yes.
somehow were predestined. Ginny just came one day and said, "Well, Antoinette, do you let me explain to you. Da, 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 da. Would you be interested?" And I said yes. And I worked with her for a month every day, learning everything, doing everything. And one day she didn't come in the morning.
Yeah.
And we didn't have mobiles, of course. I didn't know what to do. By lunchtime, I was almost crying. By afternoon, I was climbing up the wall, hanging from the ceiling.
Did you think something had happened to her?
No, she did it on purpose.
Of
She let
course.
me swim. She let me swim.
Yeah.
When I saw her, she came in the evening and she says, "I'm taking you out to dinner." I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. She says, "Well, let's have dinner before that if you don't mind." So the biggest,
Fantastic.
the biggest lesson, Jessica. The biggest and the worst, but the best possible way. God
Yes.
bless
Yes.
and love this woman. So that's what happened with Ginny. That's how I survived until 1980, almost at the end. And then my grandmother passed away in March. My mother was in pieces, and I came back, and I could never go back. That was
Did you
the end.
manage to finish your studies?
You wouldn't believe it. I was absolutely at the very end. I was an A student because I loved everything I had at school. Don't forget that I already had good English.
Yeah.
So I started from fourth year. You have to take a certain number of units, like
Yeah.
20 units per semester. Well, I started with 20 units from the fourth year and third year, and so you can see it was getting easier and easier for me at one point, and easy because there are some certain subjects you really have to take. But one of my professors said to me, "Well, you're losing your time. You can do a lot of better things. Come and take over the class 3 days, and if you pass, and if I think you've done a good job, you may not come anymore. You'll get whatever grade I give you." And I got an A. I left 3 days.
Fantastic.
Well, it was fun, but that opened my doors to many doors I wanted to open. We had professors from Columbia University, from England, from United States, New York, and I was dying to get to their classes, even if I didn't have to take them, because it was
Yes.
interesting for me. I loved literature. I went to the Beati Inglesi,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and then
English
and again, of
literature.
course, yeah, again, English literature, yeah. So it was great, and Russian. I love Russian. Actually, I love languages, basically. Uh,
Yes.
but it was a lot of fun, and I just at the end when you have to write your thesis,
Yeah.
and I even had already started on Kafka and Dostoevsky. I thought that would be interesting
Very
to
interesting.
look at both those great men in a different way, maybe
Mm-hmm.
from a younger person. And then in 1980, I couldn't go back.
Yeah.
This
And
when
they closed the universities for three
yeah, that
years.
that I know as well, and everything that I had in Iran was gone. Everything. I came back with a suitcase, my books, my shoes, my jewelry, my clothes, everything in the kitchen. I had a fantastic home gone because of my parents. They left in 75, but 74, I believe they left. or was it a little longer? Anyway, I have to remember. But everything from them, carpets, these, everything was there, gone. Oh, never mind. These are just
Yeah,
objects,
material things. Yeah, but
material things
still,
that,
a lot of
yeah,
people lost a lot of good property.
I know. I mean, while I was in Iran, um, one of my friends, it was a friendly family. Um, well, he was Belgium, and he was the representative of Aqua Gebert. Do you remember Aqua Gebert, the films?
Yes,
The
yes,
Aqu-
Agfa, yeah.
Aqua. Aqua. He was the biggest representative in Iran for Aqua Gebert. His house was fantabulous and incredible. I've seen a lot of beautiful houses, and you know, Jessica, a lot of our classmates were fantastic houses, swimming pool,
Yes, yeah.
everything. But this one, trust me, I have a feeling you've never seen in your life.
I'm sure.
I don't. Uh, the first time I saw it, I was flabbergasted. I mean, I thought nothing can surprise me, but this house did. So anyway, my friend Philippe and his wife Simone, they had to fly, and he said, "Look, Antoinette, here are the keys. Here, I was supposed to take care of the house."
Yeah,
And he said, "I don't know what's going to happen. We'll be in touch. I'll be calling you at home and all that. But please, somebody has to look. I mean, you can't just leave the house." And then a lot
yeah.
of his stuff was there. I did that. And one night, I remember, it was like 7-ish. I just decided to go quickly, water the plants, da, 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 da. As I was trying to open the back door, because he had a front door and a back door, a gun at my head. Young
Really?
people, yes, that's the first and I hope the last time somebody put a gun in my head. I looked around and I saw these young Iranians, of
Oh, yeah.
course, very young. Almost you would think he was like 16, the other one 15, the other one 19, 20 something.
Yes.
There were like 6, 7 of them, hostile.
Yeah.
Amerika'yı kesefa. I said, what? Really? I said, are you sure I'm American? And even if I were American, is it my fault? What the hell is going on? Is it my
Yeah.
fault, your fault? I'm Bulgarian. Do you know where Bulgaria is? Silence. But because I could speak Farsi, that respected them. And I
Yes.
said, look, I love your country. I love my country. I love Americans, Africans. What the hell? I mean, I've got nothing to do with what's going on here. So
Wow.
you've got to respect that. You can't put a gun on my head. Have I done anything? Anyway, they became different. They became polite, and nothing happened to me, of course. But that was the last I could see the home. They told me, from here on, this home, you gotta tell your friend.
Yeah.
If
It's
he
off
wants to put
limits.
back, fine. It's finished. It's off limits. You can't. But the plants, I don't know what. It's not your business, lady. Forget it.
Yeah.
So that was one experience during the revolution. Not to mention the falling of God knows what. I still don't know. We had curfew 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
but after that you would hear choo, poof, somewhere something. No more than 3 people after 8. Otherwise, of course, you can't be out on the street. So it was pretty tough. It was pretty tough. But
Was
yet,
that because of the war or during the revolution?
during the revolution, of course.
Yeah.
That must
Yeah.
have been 78. Of course, I was very close to Mr. Davaran. Mr. Davaran, Artie, married an American, Helen Davaran. She now lives in San Francisco, no, in Oakland,
Uh-huh.
Artie was perhaps one of my best professors. I mean, his knowledge of English literature and poetry and in William Butler Yeats and
Wow.
Wordsworth and unbelievable. I mean, it was like each time you would go to his classes, you were going to a performance, a high level performance. And you
Yes.
fell in love. No matter how difficult these guys can be as poets, you're in love. If you're in love, you accept everything, all the twists and turns of the English language. So I had fantastic friends in the late evenings when we couldn't go anywhere. We would play bridge. They taught me how to play bridge, and I loved it. And we had a lot of fun with fantastic friends. But then, of course, all of us dispersed. They left a little. No, they stayed after me, and then they left. They went to Auckland. Yeah,
So he was Iranian and his wife was
Iranian.
American? Uh-huh.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
She's she came to Bulgaria. She stayed with us, and another American friend. I took them around everywhere.
Wow.
Actually, you're invited if you care to come this part of the world.
You're something else. I'll take you up on that.
Well, I'm taking you up to what you just said, and I won't let go.
Definitely.
But let me tell you one thing for sure. It's got to be a summer because can't get away without coming with us to the Black Sea. You would love it.
Oh, yes.
Now, this is a different story. So remember, I mean, they came in late June, about July, Helen and Vicky. They stayed with us. Then I arranged different tours. They went to Plovdiv, they went to south and a little there. Finally, all four of us hooked up my husband at the Black Sea, Albania up north, and they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. They said, wow, how come we never thought of ever coming here? So I'm
Yes.
taking you up to
Okay. All right. We're coming.
just let us know. Just let us know.
Oh, absolutely.
Could
For
be
now, nobody's traveling, but we'll see.
Yeah, fine, but let's say we never know. Maybe next year after March,
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
The
I'm
bloody thing will
hoping.
occur. So am I.
Yeah. Or maybe there's a vaccine, hopefully.
My husband heard something last night on the television that Trump, who went through that ordeal, did say that his treatment was $380,000. I don't know if that's possible, but that means that there is something which is very expensive. And my husband said that Trump said he hopes everybody will be able to get the same kind of treatment, which I doubt. I mean, come on, $380,000. He'll say I paid for it. Well, whoever. But he really, strangely, very quickly, he was okay.
Yeah. But I think it shows that every person is different.
Oh, yeah,
Because
yeah.
some
And the
people, they just
symptoms
get
are
a little bit sick, and then other people, like, it really devastates their system.
exactly, and other people die, others
Yeah.
survive.
They don't know
Antibodies
anything about this virus yet.
still not yet. But it's 21st century, and I think it something is gonna pop up, sure.
Yeah. What kind of stuff did your mom do when she was in Tehran?
My mom used to work for the opera house, and that's where she met my father, of course. She was an administrator. She was the assistant to the director of the opera house. And when we came to Iran, she insisted on learning French. She had some background. So actually, she was absolutely a housewife. There were other Bulgarians. They would meet as girls meet girls. She would take care of the house, and she became a student of French. I remember
Fantastic.
Alliance Française, I believe it was called. Alliance Française.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where she went many years. She loved it. She
I
would
think they used to have programs too, didn't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
for elderly people. Yeah, because
Well,
but she
before America was allied with Iran, the French were doing a lot of cultural things. A lot of older people speak French today,
yes. A lot of the
including the Shah and his wife. They're
yeah,
francophone. So,
francophones, although they both spoke English as well.
yeah. But their
Yeah.
French is perfect.
Yeah.
So, what a fascinating life you have had, my dear.
Yeah, a lot of strange and interesting experiences.
Yeah.
But I cherish each one, every one of those things that happened to me. Some were difficult, but I guess it's just normal for the kind of life that I had. So
But I think you can take every experience and see something good in it, you know? That's my
sure,
feeling. Yeah.
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 The only thing that that really knocks me down is when, but I guess the entire planet is like that. When you lose somebody. Recently, we lost. I'm pretty sure you've heard of him, and that came on the 18th of August this year. My husband and I, were traveling to the Black Sea for a 10-day, 12-day holiday on the 19th. On the 18th, while packing and all that, and really being happy that we're gonna get away because we didn't go anywhere from January till then. We
Yeah.
heard that Ben Cross. I don't know if you heard that name, Ben Cross. Ben Cross is an English actor, but actually he became a Hollywood. Well, his film Chariots of Fire won an Oscar.
Oh, yes.
Chariots of Fire. He was
Yeah.
the running guy. Then
Yeah, the
later on,
music.
oh yeah, and he sings fantastically. Ben and I met in 2005 in
Yes.
Bulgaria after my mom had passed away, and Ben, he felt that, I don't know how, I've always asked him, Ben, how did you know? You just met me and you asked me to help you with Lucky, the cat he saved. And while she was that little, he had to cut off her right leg because there was some kind of infection.
Mm-hmm.
Then he loved the cat, but he was traveling too much. He was shooting films all over the planet. And he wanted somebody to adopt. And in Bulgaria, people don't look favorably at the cat like that.
Yeah.
So Lucky became a member of my family. She went to a cousin's house. So Ben and
Lucky.
I, yeah, Lucky. Everybody loves Lucky. So in a funny way, Ben and I became like brother and sister. He would call me sis, I'll call him bro. And nobody, I mean, he would introduce me to people that with my husband and I and Ben and other people, and he said, "This is my sister Antoinette."
Oh.
And they said, "Ben, oh, ah," and the funny, he wouldn't answer. He would say, "Yeah,
Yep.
Antoinette." Anyway, he passed away on the 18th of August.
Oh.
So suddenly, my husband and I were shaken out. I mean, this is what I now feel what it is to be totally from the bottom of my head to my feet. I sat down and I couldn't get up
Yeah.
because he didn't even tell his wife. A week before that, in Bulgaria, he finished his last movie called The Devil's Something that premiered on the 8th of January next year.
Uh-huh.
He finished shooting his scenes,
Yeah.
and the entire crew, they were, it's not a Bulgarian production, it's an American production,
Mm-hmm.
but shot in Bulgaria. A lot of artists come to Bulgaria. So everybody got up and clapped. And until the last moment, he was the soul of the company. 7 days later, he was gone.
Did he get
So
sick?
he had cancer, but he didn't tell any of us. Not even his
Oh.
wife. Not even
Yeah.
his. He married exactly 2 years ago on the 18th of October. Same day he passed away. Anyway, so what I mean is, yes, I'm generally very positive towards everything, but that's what something I can't deal with.
Yeah.
I
That's the
was,
ultimate, you know, the ultimate grief.
I've read everything. I trust that, yes, there is a reincarnation. Yes, we're learning all the time in here and there. I know, I believe all that, but missing is missing.
Yeah.
Emptiness and the pain is unbelievable. So anyway,
So
I talked
is
too
Lucky
much.
still around?
Lucky passed away couple of years ago, and then Ben was a member. He played in another serial, Banji.
Uh-huh.
Uh, 3 seasons, but he's killed in the second season. So his wife bought him a rabbit. He played the rabbit. It's called. His name was the rabbit, mafiotto. He was just like a Hungarian mafia man.
Oh
And
my
then
God, that's funny.
he made Bulgaria his home. He just built a beautiful house. Fantastic house he built.
Oh,
Yeah, they moved just this Christmas that past. They moved in finally. So anyway, the funny thing is, still, when my husband and I are watching Diema Plus, the movie channel,
yes.
and we see Ben. And we see Ben. That was the beginning of the film, and he was so disgusting that after the film, I immediately called him and I said, Bencho. I'll call him Bencho, diminutive in Bulgarian. I said, I just saw that film of yours and you were absolutely horrible, disgusting. And he smiled and he said, I've done my job, Antoinette.
Actors are so funny, aren't they?
Oh yeah, he's
That's
here.
what he wanted.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. No, he was ready. And he plays the, he's known for those roles. If you go to IMDb and you write Ben Cross, you will be amazed at how many movies and series.
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up again. I
Look
love
him
that
up,
movie. I love Chariots of Fire.
Harriet Safari, he was the other guy. The two of them that were and singing also. He used
Yeah.
to sing fantastic.
Well, I'm sorry that he passed. It's so
I
sad.
still can't believe it. I still can't believe it. It's gonna
Yeah.
dawn on one day.
Well, Antoinette, you are one of my most interesting interviewees.
Oh well.
We got quite a few nuggets, and I reserve the right for a second one down the line.
Oh, great. Will I see anything of what you've done?
Absolutely. I'm the only person who's editing the videos, so it's going to take about 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, absolutely. I would believe a little more even. I
Yeah.
was aware of another movie because back in Bulgaria, just very briefly, I became the director of Partners. Partners. This
Yeah.
is a strange avenue or a highway, I should say. I took of mediation and conflict resolution.
Uh-huh.
So I started, I'm one of the first to start mediation as a process.
Yeah.
Knowledge. And I also had some training in San Diego, which is in San Diego, you guys have one of the best mediation centers.
Really?
So, absolutely. What I mean, the entire planet. Absolutely. I still do some mediation in Bulgaria. Bulgarians are still not that bright to turn to a mediator. They run to court.
Yeah.
In order to solve their problems. And back in God knows what year was that, 96, I believe, Hillary Clinton came to Bulgaria. And I don't know, but I was picked out of 10 NGOs to meet her. So we had like an hour and a half with her. And I was amazed at how much she knew about me. She knew about all of us. She must have studied a lot on the plane, reading about us. But she turned to me and she said, well, how is your mediation going in Bulgaria? And I said, difficult. I said, because Bulgarians are not yet ready for it and won't be ready for a long period of time. And I said, a lot of my friends think I'm doing meditation, which means I've joined a sect. Hillary,
Yes.
and Hillary laughed her head off. She said, don't worry, it's all over the world, it's the same. They mixed up meditation with mediation.
Yes.
So anyway,
At
very
least
brief.
I don't think it's medication.
Thank you, never thought of it. Well, that's the third channel.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful thing. It saves time, saves heartache.
Yes, a lot.
So we'll be in touch.
Okay, I mean, if you have any questions, I saw your questions. You didn't ask me anything about my food, my favorite food in
Oh,
the world.
oh, okay. Tell me
Oh,
about your food.
I
That's
want
very
to know
important.
about. I think it is very important because food, culture, poetry, dancing, everything brings all those elements. They go to your head, heart, stomach. You get to know the people a lot better. And I recently said in Facebook that somebody published something in a place where the Persian food and all that, and I said I'm truly, honestly sorry for the people on this planet who have never had Iranian. They're crazy. They should hear about it. So trust me, in Bulgaria, all of my friends asked me to make rice with tadik. I have a real Iranian rice thanks to my Iranian friends with the restaurant. I buy a package of 5 kilos.
Yeah.
But what can I say? Everything. I mean, that there's so many things that people should try. I try writing them down, like gourmet sabzi, not to mention reime, pesenjun, chelukevar,
Mm.
kubide. Of course, I make tachin very often because it's a fantastic kuku I make, very close to Bulgarian taste.
Wow.
Abgush, teresh kolo, babujun.
You're
No,
making me hungry.
Istanbul pulo, Istanbul
Oh,
pulo.
that's my favorite. And it's very, they don't eat it much, but I love it.
I love it. I love it. And thank God, not one person that has been invited to my house, including Ben Cross, he had 3 helpings with gourmet sabzi. And he kept on
Oh,
looking at me accusingly. I said, Ben, don't look at me. He says, I've never had anything like that in my entire life.
wow.
Would you
You
believe
must
that?
be a great cook.
Shows. I was proud of what you know in Iran Zami. So,
Yeah. Well, you still glow, so that's good.
yes. Okay. So listen. Ask me anything else, or if
Yeah.
not,
What does your husband do?
he's a member of Tonica TV. That's how it's called, Tonica. Um, a
You married a
cappella,
musician?
yeah, and a bass because my the bassoon is a bass, and so is
Yeah.
he.
Big voice.
And can I send you a link for you to see him? One of
Absolutely.
I'll send it on Facebook, okay? I'll
Yeah.
send you a link to listen to a couple of songs, and you'll see him on stage with the band.
Mm.
And I guess one of the songs you recognize, you'll see. So let's leave it
Okay.
at that,
Yeah, let's
okay?
leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Antoinette.
you're welcome.
It was lovely. Take
Take
care.
care. And if
Bye.
there is anything at all, I'm here for you.
Okay,
Don't
thank you.
forget what you brought.
No.
You're gonna have fun.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Bye.